So I've received a few comments on my Goldback videos recently, which prompted me to do a follow-up since the last 3 videos really didn't get through to some. One person asked if I could go any harder on them. Yes. Yes, I can. Hey everyone, welcome to Campbell's Coins. I made a post here last night on YouTube, but it's important enough to mention again. Gold hit a major new all-time high last night. Normally, I don't care about spot price, but it was a psychological barrier which was shattered, and that's pretty important. While it's nice to see the price of gold way up, especially above its all-time high, I would not be surprised if in the immediate future, perhaps tomorrow, everything gets smacked down, because a rising gold price is an indicator of a failing economy. Let's see if this trend continues into 2024 or falls rapidly like 2021. One of the more triggering videos I've made has been about Goldbacks. I've been very outspoken against Goldbacks for a very long time. I started this channel in early 2019 because I saw a lot of big gold and silver channels spreading some horrible information to new stackers about many things. Now, I've been stacking since, I think, April 2005, and I wanted to correct that bad info in my own way. One of these topics, which sprouted up shortly after I started this channel, is Goldbacks. I went easy on these when they were first released because I wanted to see if it was going to change some hearts and minds or just be a gimmick. It turns out it was a gimmick. A lot of big channels have been pushing these to their unsuspecting audience with a lot of misleading info, and I don't think that's right. You'll notice the people who have good things to say about Goldbacks either were paid by Goldback, which they didn't announce to their audience, they work for Goldback, or they simply do not know better. Channels promoting Goldbacks were paid to get the unsuspecting buyer to get them, paid in a Goldback bribe or in a fiat exchange. How do I know this? Because the Goldback CEO reached out to me years ago to promote these in exchange for what I've mentioned. Going after Goldbacks has not made me popular with the Goldback bots. The bots always come in full force, repeating talking points taken directly from Goldback's website. I think the reason folks defend Goldbacks so vigorously is they really don't want to admit to themselves that they were duped by another channel to buy this stuff. Pride can be a real bitch. So before I really get into this video, I wanted to preface this by saying this is not an attack on people who love Goldbacks or Goldbacks in general. If you like these, good for you. There are plenty of folks who buy Goldbacks as collector pieces or as giveaway items or prizes, or even to use for transactions in participating states. Although, I'll expand on this last part more in a little bit. This video is directed towards Goldback's claims as well as some illogical arguments made by some. The purpose of my videos has been to help those who have been bamboozled by these big channels into thinking these are a good purchase. I'll get into what I think Goldbacks are good for later in this video. If you don't believe me on any of my claims, the first thing you should do is ask all these big YouTube channels pumping Goldbacks if they bought the Goldbacks they're talking about in their videos. Next, ask them if they buy Goldbacks on a regular basis. The answer will be no to both questions because stackers don't buy Goldbacks, especially not veteran stackers. Newbies do, or those who have been convinced that this is the only type of gold that they can afford. By the way, gold is affordable for 99% of the able-bodied individuals out there. Please do not comment, "I can't afford gold," or "this is the only gold I can afford." That is a lame crutch. You can afford gold, you just value other things above gold, whether it's a Starbucks coffee, a streaming service, weed, or some other hobby. Trust me when I say, the moment you drop that crutch, will be the moment you turn your finances around for the better. One of the fabulous comments I get frequently on the Goldback topic is, "You don't get it." Most of these individuals don't watch my videos fully, nor do they understand my logic or approach. They are too emotionally evolved, and they don't want to see that there are better options. There isn't really much to get here with Goldbacks either. There are three main themes that I will continually return to throughout this video: premiums, usage, and Goldbacks really don't solve anything. By that last point, I mean that Goldbacks aren't some new radical technology which transforms our lives. My main argument is whatever the Goldback can do, a gold or silver coin or bar can equally do without costing you so much. Additionally, silver coins can easily cover the cost of small, everyday transactions. Ironically, the people saying, "You don't get it," haven't been stacking for that long. Eventually, they come to the conclusion that they overpaid for Goldbacks, but most people's pride prevents them from admitting they were wrong. Going back to what I've mentioned time and time again, Goldbacks do not solve anything. The primary argument to using Goldbacks in transaction is it makes people aware of gold, its use, and it gets people away from our fiat-based system. The same system where the paper currency has been printed to over $33 trillion as of December 2023. By the way, when I started this channel in February 2019, our national debt was only $19 trillion. In 5 years, it has risen nearly $15 trillion. It's pretty scary and completely out of control. The education of Goldbacks to a population to wean off fiat is true to a certain extent, but the same could be done if one used gold coins, and that is a fraction of the cost compared to Goldbacks. If you can educate people about Goldbacks, you can educate people about gold coins. The learning curve would actually be the same for each, but might lean slightly in favor of coins due to the various prices for Goldbacks, like the exchange rate, and the fact that one can't easily exchange these for the price that they paid. Someone has commented, "I trust buying a Goldback from someone over buying a gold coin." How? You can't reliably test Goldbacks unless you have an incredibly expensive and sensitive X-ray machine, the same testing equipment a coin shop uses, whereas a gold and silver coin can be tested easily with cheap equipment and methods. I would also argue most people around the US, and the world for that matter, would recognize a gold coin over a Goldback. Do you really want to know why sellers promote Goldbacks so hard? Because they make a higher percentage selling fractional pieces, regardless if it's gold or silver. The smaller the size, the higher the premium. It's not promoted because they believe in them. They promote fractional sizes because they make more money off of you. Look at these monthly delivery bullion box companies. For just $250 a month, you can have gold and silver shipped right to your door. I've spoken out against these companies too. They're there to provide you with overpriced and unpopular gold and silver pieces to the unsuspecting buyer. Go ask any veteran stacker if they buy into these monthly bullion programs. The answer for all of them, unless they are sponsored by a bullion company, will be no. Goldback actually highlighted a big stacker channel video on their webpage, which was nothing more than a paid ad for Goldbacks with talking points taken directly from the company, pointing out how quote unquote bad the other gold alternatives are. But Goldbacks are somehow the key to the universe and have zero issue. It was filled with so much misinformation, including this graph, where his math is just all sorts of wrong. 1 gram maples do not have a 77% premium on them. I don't know if he corrected himself in another video or if everyone else is bad at math and they didn't catch this, but here's a screenshot of the graph from his video. Notice how the smaller the size, the premium somehow shrinks. How is that possible? Here's what I found in regards to premiums. Premiums on Goldbacks are insane. At a minimum, the premiums are double the value of the gold within them. for a single Goldback, the exchange rate is $4.35 as of December 2nd, 2023. The gold value in these is $2.07 each. The gold value in these, at least for the one Goldback, is $2.07. That is a premium of over 53%. That 53% is only if you're going to get them for the exchange rate. But if you're buying them from certain retailers like APMEX, you're paying a hell of a lot more. Folks get angry at me because I point out APMEX, which is selling these for about $6.08. But if you look at, say, Hero Bullion, they're selling about $3.95. That's still a very large premium on the Goldback. 10th ounce American Gold Eagles have a premium of 17% on average. 1 gram gold bars, which I strongly advocate against, have a premium of 25%. You're paying double for a Goldback what you would pay for the most expensive 1 gram gold bar. That's nice, Campbells. I'm not using a 1 gram bar to buy a cup of coffee. Okay, then use silver coins. A 1 ounce silver round has a 10% premium. Let's say that the business wants a sovereign coin. An American Silver Eagle has a 20% premium. I don't want to carry a few ounces around, Campbell's. It's just too dang heavy. Okay, a pack of dimes is less than an ounce, and each is valued at $1.84. That's only a 21% premium. Everything is cheaper and more recognizable than a Goldback. Another lie here is that people don't understand a silver dime. You're telling me that no one knows what a dime or quarter looks like or knows about their silver content, but they will somehow automatically know about a Goldback, and or that teaching one or the other is somehow less hard? You know what the biggest difference is? People will actually get more back for the coins than they will for a Goldback. Let's say people don't want to use dimes and quarters because they aren't pure silver. Totally understandable, right? There are fractional pure silver pieces like this 10th ounce round. I never advocate people buying fractional silver because the premium is just too much, but hey, guess what? It's still cheaper than a Goldback. Now, this YouTuber was correct in one point, and that is its size. Gold is a very dense metal, and these quarter gram and half gram sizes are incredibly tiny and could easily be lost if one wasn't careful. The same could be said for gold grams. They are just too dang small for commerce. And this is another point to the Goldback. But I still go back to premiums and alternatives. If I need a smaller transaction completed and the shops accept gold and silver, I'll just use a silver coin. If it's a larger transaction, like for instance groceries, I spend about $60 to $125 a week on groceries depending upon what I'm getting. A sturdy gold coin could easily fulfill that role. Let's talk usage. I'm going to cover usage in regular times like right now, not some fantasy SHTF scenario where people think they will barter for gold and silver. A few tangents. I will have a video discussing a return to using physical gold and silver in everyday transactions and why it's a bad deal. Side note number 2. If you're one of the individuals who believes you're trading gold and silver in an SHTF situation, you need to rethink your entire mindset and the logistics of that happening. Side note number 3. If you think an economic collapse will trigger an SHTF situation, step out from your mom's basement and stop watching these horrible gun channels on YouTube. They too sell a fantasy lifestyle. Past U.S. economic crashes didn't trigger roaming herds of gun-toting incels. In a modern society, the likelihood of this happening with an economic collapse is just so small. Just rethink the logic of it all, but I'm going to digress from here. There is a ridiculous argument that you can still use Goldbacks in states which do not accept them. That is only if you find a mom and pop shop who likes gold. Why? Well, first of all, if that mom and pop shop will accept Goldbacks, then they will likely accept a gold or silver coin. It's not like it's either one or the other. Except if they take the gold or silver coin, they would be better off. The other ridiculous point is education. If folks are unfamiliar with these and they are in a state which does not accept them, I have to educate these folks about Goldbacks. and what the value is, all while trying to make my purchase. Let's hope that no one is standing in line behind me. But Campbell's, you have to do the same thing with gold and silver coins. Yes, true, but I'm not advocating for physical gold and silver to be used in transactions. I know. I'm only stating these other examples to show the audience that there are better alternatives to the goldback, not that it should actually occur. Getting back to the ridiculousness. In today's digital age with credit cards and even just physical cash, why the heck would a store accept a goldback? Let's say that they understand gold and the premises of the goldback. Who were they going to convince to take them after the transaction with you? Especially if they reside in a state which doesn't accept these normally. They can't pay their bills with these. They have to go to a coin shop to sell for cash, and they will get bottom dollar. Dealers don't want these, so they will offer to buy them for melt or under melt because they don't know how long they're going to have to hold on to them. So this mom and pop shop just traded their goods and services for less than what they wanted. Why? It goes back to what I've always harped on. Enormous premiums. In their frequently asked questions section, Goldback discusses where one can sell these to get cash. One of their suggestions? eBay. You're paying eBay seller fees and possibly shipping. Quick question for the audience. Why doesn't Goldback Company buy these back? Nothing says red flag more than a business who doesn't stand behind their own product. Everything has production costs. I understand that. It costs fiat to make coins. It costs even more fiat to make these goldbacks. And on top of production costs, you have dealers and secondhand sellers trying to scrape out their cut by adding their own premium on top of that cost. Another point I'd like to make to my audience for them to chew on. Why doesn't Goldback sell their goldbacks on their website? Why have a middleman when you can easily sell these directly to consumers? Even if goldbacks are accepted in your state, that doesn't mean all businesses within that state will accept them, of course. You still have to find businesses who will trade in these. Your network will be greater in a state who accepts them over a state who does not, but it really won't be that much different from a non-goldback state. The volunteer rate depends on the number of willing individuals within that state to trade in gold. The point in fact, if you look on Goldback's website, if you're a business, you have to kind of apply to be a Goldback partner. In all of my Goldback videos, I've pointed out the positives. Goldbacks are certainly lighter than coins. The weight difference being an ounce or two, maybe. Maybe these goldbacks get the average Joe to rethink the fiat system, but it would be the same turnover rate as using gold coins if you were using those to educate. I suppose the argument could be made, since these bills are a lower gold weight, more people can get their hands on them versus, say, a tenth of an ounce gold coin. Well, that is certainly true, but then we circle back to premiums. Some people like collecting them. Some like giving these as gifts. I know plenty of the community who send these out to other channels. I've received some in this manner, and it's greatly appreciated. The generosity isn't lost on me, and I'm not putting anyone down. Giving these as gifts isn't what we're talking about here, though. We're discussing premiums, usage, and what these actually solve. Unless there is a like-for-like exchange in everyday commerce, you're losing out here. This is especially true in states where these haven't been adopted and where the consumer purchases their goldbacks. One point I'd like to end on is a positive, and something these goldbacks do is establish a like-minded community. But again, if we are in a situation where folks are accepting precious metals for commerce, this community can easily be established with gold and silver coins or bars. Your time is your most precious asset, and I appreciate you spending it here with me. Thank you all for watching. This is Campbell's Coins, and that is my 2 cents.